All right. Hey, everybody. Welcome to today's call. I wanted to talk to you about, is PTSD curable? Is it something that we can get over? Is it something that we can just fully be rid of? Now, PTSD is a complex mental health condition that develops after you experience a traumatic or witness a traumatic event. Well, there's actually no definite cure for PTSD. Now, I know most of you may have already known that, but I really wanted to help you to understand that. And when you can understand that there's no absolute definite cure for PTSD, you can begin to live your life accordingly. And that's what I wanted to do with this, right? It's important to note, though, that many people with PTSD can experience significant improvement and lead fulfilling lives while being diagnosed with it. But you want to have appropriate treatment. You want to have the support. Support's huge when you're first been diagnosed with PTSD. Support is huge, and when you can have that support network around you, that's when your life will shift, and that's when you're gonna really take ownership of your life. So by the end of this lesson, you're gonna have an idea if PTSD is curable for you. And that's what I want to dive into. So for the first little bit, I want to talk to you about what PTSD is, how it affects people personally, and maybe get you to understand if that's how you're feeling and the things that you're doing. So first of all, PTSD is a complex nature of trauma of an individual differences, right? So let me say that again. It's a complex nature of trauma, and it has individual differences, meaning we're all different people, right? You know that, I know that. We're all different people. We're all unique. We all have different past beliefs. We all have different things in our lives that we've been through. And this is going to determine how it feels and the things that happen within your growth period. Now, because of the complexity, to find a single cure for PTSD and say, okay, the best way to cure this is this, this, and this. Like within my life, in my past, some of you may know my story, some of you may not. My son died of cancer. Now, with cancer, there is an actual treatment, right? There's a single cure or a multiple cure for that kind of disease. But when it comes to PTSD, all cures are very much personalized. It's very much, you have to know which direction in your life you want to go. You have to understand what you want to do in your life. And these things are what's going to transform you. Because your trauma that you've been through, that past experience that you're fighting with every day, that hypervigilance, the triggers that are setting you off, the nightmares, the things that you're doing, it's been from the past. It's been from situations, the beliefs, certain situations have led up to that traumatic experience. But it depends on the trauma also. What is that traumatic experience you've been through? What happened? What did you either witness or what was a part of you? That can cause significant difference in the building of your life. Someone like me who's lost a child, my traumatic growth is different than, let's say, someone that got into a car accident and is now paralyzed from the waist down. It'd be a different path that we would have to go on. And that's where I want to let you know, my friends, and just show you that this is the direction that you go in your lives. But all your past beliefs or values or habits, these are affecting how you grow too. If you've been in a situation and people in the past are like, okay, how am I supposed to grow past this? Because you've seen other people not grow past it. Maybe you watch the news and you fill your head with trauma, and this kind of brings it up every single day. And when you do that, you're not going to be able to cure yourself. You're not going to be able to push forward and get yourself going in the right direction because you're just plugging into more negativity. So each person that has this trauma, it's going to affect differently. I said that because it depends. No, sorry, I'm just reading my notes. Factors of each trauma and the situation that you've been through is going to push you forward or it's going to keep you stuck. So what exactly happened? Are you paying attention to what happened? Do you know what you've been through? What the psychological and physical factors are within your life, within what you've been through? Because the support systems around you and what you happen to you is going to be help you to manage moving forward in your lives. And that's where it's important. That's where the importance of moving your life and shifting your life into something that is going to transform and change you, because you know what you're doing. One of the biggest things that you need to do when you're working through your growth of post-traumatic stress disorder or depression or anxiety is you need to know what's going on. You need to know what areas of your life are affected. You need to know where your triggers are. Those things that happen, what sets you off? Is it maybe it's an environment that you're around? Are you at a certain environment, and when you go to this environment, you get mad, or maybe your heart races and you start to sweat and you're like, I can't be here right now. This is part of that traumatic experience. It's the body saying, putting you in that fight or flight mode, and you're like, I gotta go. And that's one of the biggest triggers with post-traumatic stress disorder is fight or flight. That's what it does to you. It puts you in that state. And then your mind has triggered that. It has caused that to happen because of that past trauma. It's protecting you. And when you can go into a situation knowing that, you know what, I might be safe right now, what's happening in my life, I might be safe from it, but your mind's going to tell you that you're not. But knowing is your biggest helper, because you can say, okay, look, I know that what's going on right now isn't real. It might feel real, but you have to step back, sit down, and go, okay, I'm in charge of me. This disorder, this disease that is attacking me isn't controlling me anymore. And I had to fight this. This is not, my friends, let me tell you this. This is not a daily, this is not like, this is minute to minute some days. There are some days that I would be in a situation and I would be fighting my anxiety, and I'd be like, okay, look, this isn't, why am I feeling like this? What's going on around me? Okay, this person's here. This situation's happening. Okay, breathe, take a step back and say, okay, now I can transform. Let's try this again. Nope, not yet. I'm not ready. And I'd have to step back. It would be minute to minute. But over time, what happens when you do things over and over again? It rewires your brain. So when you're doing things, positive things in your life, it's rewiring what direction you want your brain to kind of recreate those grooves, recreate those neurons in your life. And then over time, it gets easier and easier. And then after a while, it almost seems like it goes away, but it doesn't, right? Because I know in the back of my mind somewhere that I might have a PTSD attack or a trigger hit me somewhere. I might have to go to the hospital. Maybe one of my children now gets sick. There might be something that triggers me to fall back into that. But if I'm aware of it, I can prepare for it and I can say, okay, I know what I need to do. But that's number one is to understand your keyword there is your. What are your conditions? Because the things that I go through are going to be different than the things that you go through. And my friend, I really want you to understand that your healing is up to you. And the things that you do in your life are really up to you. There's two directions you can go when you get diagnosed. You can go, okay, I get it. Something happened. I've now been triggered. I've now been diagnosed with PTSD. Where can I go from here? Where can I build my life into something better? Or you can step back and be like, I give up. I'm done. I don't want to live this life anymore. I can't put through this pain. And then that stops you. That stops you from moving forward. So my friends, when you can say, look, I'm in charge of my life. I am responsible for my life. And the things that I'm going to do in my life are going to transform me. I'm going to be that person I'm supposed to be. This disorder, this trauma is not stopping me from being a true warrior in my life. And that's what you were made to be, my friend. You are a warrior. You are someone that pain is a part of life. Okay? When you know that pain is a part of life, that's when you can say, okay, I understand. It happened. How am I going to move forward? How am I going to transform my life forward? But the first thing you have to do is believe. If you don't believe that you're going to heal, you're not going to even attempt it. So you have to really work on your mind, because you'll hit a roadblock and a wall and a situation, and all these different things are going to come into your life and say, look, you're not going to get better. And then you hit the wall, and then you're like, okay, look, I know I'm going to get better. You'll crawl over the wall, or you'll knock down that wall. And then you'll be like, no, you're not going to get better because you hit another wall. That's why I say it's in the beginning, it seems like working through your disorder is minute to minute. But you have to find that treatment that works best for you. What is that treatment? What is that thing that is going to be able to transform your life? What is that for you? Some people have cognitive behavior therapy. So they do certain situations like breathing techniques. They do writing down in the journal, express journaling. Some people use tapping, where they tap a certain part of their body. There's all the prayer, support, diving deep into personal development, all these different avenues that you can do. In the beginning, if you've been recently diagnosed, I would say, number one, my friend, go see a therapist. Go see someone. It's not weak. Don't be like, oh, I'm not going to talk to anybody. That's so weak. It's not, my friend. It's not weak. I don't care if you're a big buff tattoo guy that thinks that, weakness is like leaving, what was it? What's the expression I use? Weakness is, or pain is weakness leaving the body. If you're that person, that I was there. When I was a correctional officer, I wasn't allowed to be weak. Yeah, weakness was a bad thing when I first started. And then even before that, it was even worse, because you have to show a different persona about you. But that's always the outside, right? And my friend, you've probably been there where you have to be a different person on the outside than you're truly feeling, right? Inside, you're curled up in a little ball. You're bawling your eyes out. You're screaming for help. And on the outside, you're smiling, acting like you're totally fine. Get help, my friends, but also know that it's not forever. And I've said this before in my other episodes, when you, let's say, break an arm, what's the first thing you do? You go to the doctor goes, okay, arm's broken. We're going to have to either put some pins in it, set some pins, or we're going to put a cast on you. And then you're going to build after some time. You'll take that cast off, and then you're going to begin to kind of do physio. That's what therapy is, okay? Therapy and even medication. When therapists issue you medication, take it as like a cast, something that you need in the beginning to help you kind of cope and move forward. But my friends, don't do it forever. Have yourself a goal and say, look, in 6 months, I'm going to dwindle my therapy down to 1 day a month, and I'm going to basically not be on medication at all. Try that goal. If you hit there and you still need it, that's fine. Move the goal ahead and say, look, I still need it. I'm still going to push through. I believe that complete and permanent cureness of PTSD may not be possible, right? And I want to tell you that right now. I don't feel that it is. But many individuals with PTSD live with it. But it's important to know that you are the one that is on the path in your life. You, my friends, are the ones who need to take control and say, my life is my responsibility, and how I'm going to live it is up to me. It doesn't matter what goes on beside me, behind me, or anything like that. I'm going to focus forward. I'm going to build my life forward by filling my mind, by filling my life with the things that are going to move me into where I want to go. So I hope this kind of gave you some inspiration today, my friends. I hope this gave you some insight to really being a person that transformed their life, and really being a person that says, I'm going to do this. I'm going to live my life, and I'm going to create the success that I desire. And remember, as always, I love you all, and there's nothing you can do about it.